Cybersecurity is not just hacking. I think that's the biggest myth. It's not about like somebody is like anonymous ka mask पहन के बैठ के somebody is sitting and doing something. It's not like that.
The hackers are sitting there. They are not in your system from the day that hacking or attack is happening. They are sitting in your system from past 6 months. They got an access. They are sitting. They are watching. They are analyzing everything what is happening, and the right moment they attack.
We spend so much money in lot of things, lots and lot of things. How many of us actually have an antivirus on our phone? How many of us are willing to pay for antivirus solution? We look for that free brownies कि कहीं पे कुछ मिल जाए. Nothing is for free. If something is for free, you are the product. In today's age, data is the fuel.
Hi everyone. In this segment, while we have spoken a lot about NG networks earlier, now we are talking about cybersecurity. What else and who best? We have the industry experts with us. We have Shri Vaishnavi who has just joined us today, and she comes from a great cybersecurity background. So we will be taking up this segment ahead with her. Hi Shri Vaishnavi, how are you?
Hi Ghazal, I'm great. In fact, thank you for having me here. It's
It's
actually a great feeling that to be here and talk about. And yes, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but yeah, still on my journey, I would say. Like,
learning
you know,
never ends,
true.
right? At this stage, while we have achieved something, we are leading a market. For us, you will be an expert, and somebody who is just growing, is still budding, would be for you. For them, you would be an expert. So I think it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
So Vaishnavi, while we were chit chatting, just offline,
Yeah.
the camera, and I really happen to know your journey. You didn't start your career from the cybersecurity. You have switched, and today you have landed to a great exposure towards cybersecurity. You have done so many certifications and recommendations that you have with you. What what brought you, and what was that changed?
So basically, back in my college days, when I was doing my BTech, so I did my BTech from Punjab Technical University. It's not any
Yeah.
NIT or IIT. So during that period, I would say that during my second year, we were asked like go for some internship, maybe like just get some exposure. So being an electronics and communication engineer in making, I was like, I'm not actually interested in electronics purely. So I took up the cybersecurity course and I ended up writing a research paper on Mac spoofing.
Wow.
So that got published in one of the journals, I remember. I think that got me actually interested in this domain. Like, we used to see in movies, somebody opening laptop and that black screen,
Yeah.
yeah, kuch pakka hacking chal raha hoga, things like that. But yes, when you actually get to learn about certain things, which are like the stepping stones, you would say, you actually it's all about how you take it,
Yeah.
because there are so many things happening around you. It's just that what is actually taking, you need to take interest and you need to be noticing, like no matter what
Agree.
your passion is, as long as you don't pay interest, you can't get there. And after my BTech, like I got a placement, but then of course, due to multiple reasons, I didn't take up any job. I was at home for 1 year, and my parents, and like the typical Indian families, like um, try for some government jobs, and like crack some exam. I knew that नहीं होगा, like government ठीक है जितना पढ़ लिया okay, but then I wanted that something should come up.
Yeah.
So that's when this security agency like Ministry of IT had
Okay.
this temporary positions, contractual basis.
Okay.
So they were hiring for consultants,
Oh wow.
and I gave the interview, and I I was lucky enough to get selected. I started my career as an incident handler, and
Wow.
that's where this entire journey actually began. And I used to handle incidents. Phishing report हुआ है, scanning report हुआ है, अच्छा, and then like you don't have to just stop, okay, incident log kiya aur ho gaya. No, you're supposed to do the triaging कि यार
Yeah.
what next, why this phishing is happening, how it happened, because there are so many forms of phishing, itself, which is and which prompts you to learn a lot of things.
Correct.
And luckily, the mentors that I have been blessed with in my life, my partner happens to be one of them. So he basically, he used to push me like, think outside the box. When you think about, you're seeing that phishing is happening, cross site scripting kahan se ho rahi hai.
Yeah.
तो burp suit चला रही है, you are using Wireshark, why don't you study that OSI model? You can actually take that knowledge from
Yeah,
Wireshark, right?
correct.
And hardly people, I don't know how many students who are actually, like getting into this domain. My sincere advice would be, अगर आपको OSI model पढ़ना है, आप Wireshark को देखो. Because you will actually get to understand those 7 layers using that tool. That's how I learned. I was made to learn. And from there, I think the journey has been unstoppable.
Wow.
Because it's like, आपका एक तो वर्क भी डिमांड करता है. Like an organization where you're working is 24/7 operational. 365 days. There is no chutti.
Yeah,
There is no
absolutely.
concept of, because cybersecurity, the attackers are not taking a break.
Yeah, they're not.
You need to be on top of your game all the time. So while we are doing this at a very lower level, like this incident handling and things like that, there are people on, the higher in the hierarchy, like, unka to, you can't even imagine what kind of load or things that they would be. So the change in perspective from like stepping into their shoes, what would be required, I think that always kind of, ignited that spark. Okay. Then of course, like, I moved from that industry to a newspaper industry. So it was all technical until then. Like, कि कौन सी website में क्या problem है, somebody is using a Joomla, Drupal,
Yeah,
like कितने सारे websites हैं ना who worked on this content management system. And every now and then you open NVD, I think it's a great source of information. Anybody trying to understand कि क्या vulnerability है, कैसे exploit हो रही है, you get into those, like, there is MITRE and attack.
Yeah.
आप इन websites को check करो. The moment you start connecting the dots, I think it's so much information available for free that, people can just start from anywhere. And that's what I used to do. And one of the major things which actually contributed was like, खुद तो मैं पढ़ ही रही थी अपने लिए, but daily one of my tasks in my first jobs was like, 5-7 मैंने websites I had shortlisted, like, I will go morning, I will check thread post, I will check e-hacking news, hackers read, like a lot of websites are there, hackread.com, and so which gives you a lot of news related to cybersecurity. I used to, like, pull out information from each and every website. Okay, आज ये अटैक हुआ है, आज ये vulnerability exploit हो रही है, आज patch Tuesday है. So populate everything and circulate it to everybody. So you are gaining the knowledge by studying, plus you are making sure that everybody is also aware, like, what to anticipate, what kind of attacks we might, like, that may get reported, what kind of cases that may come. So yeah, that has been like,
You know what you have spoken so far, Vaishnavi. I just have one question. I think this will be very interesting for our audience as well. You know, when we talk about cybersecurity, in layman, a lot of people just correlate only with hacking. You say cybersecurity, people think it's hacking.
yeah.
It's just a part of it, right?
True.
And I think for the upcoming generation who wants to get into cybersecurity, want to learn cybersecurity, an understanding, a basic understanding, hacking is just a small portion of it. Cybersecurity itself is wide. So, what do you want to talk about it? There is another topic that you have just touched based on phishing.
Yeah.
And I would rather call it not phishing, I would rather call it social engineering attacks. There are n number of things the way it can be done: phishing, wishing, spamming, anything can be done, right? But we'll touch base that topic later. But before that, people, they literally correlate cybersecurity with hacking. And I have seen people in this generation, social media, Instagram, they just try to, if they try to hack social media, they think that this is hacking. No, I think this has gone beyond. The hackers are sitting there. They are not in your system from the day that hacking or attack is happening. They are sitting in your system from past 6 months. They got an access. They are sitting. They are watching. They are analyzing everything what is happening. And the right moment they attack, those period, while they entered, while they were able to, breach that system, how cybersecurity plays an important role, how networking plays an important role.
True. I think that's a very, very important question that you have just asked.
Correct.
I'll answer this with my life, experience that I have
Absolutely.
just, so cybersecurity is not just hacking. I think that's the biggest myth, and it's not about somebody is like anonymous ka mask पहन के बैठ के somebody is sitting and doing something. It's not like that.
बच्चों के दिमाग में आज भी होता है कि वो ब्लैक स्क्रीन पे वो पूरा पूरा लॉग एनालिसिस एल्गोरिदम चल रहा होगा, दिस इज हैकिंग, somebody who's sitting in a dark room doing, no, that's not
It's
that's the
not.
myth which everybody is carrying.
ट्रू साइबर सिक्योरिटी का एक एंगल अगर हम देखें लाइक वेयर व्हाट आई जनरली सी दीज डेज विच इज़ आई थिंक इट्स बीन ईयर्स इट्स वेरी कॉमन फ़ोन का रिमोट एक्सेस ले लिया एंड ओ टी पी हमने तो ओ टी पी दिया नहीं एंड हमारे अकाउंट से पैसे चले गए
जी.
it is also an angle to look into when you're looking into cybersecurity. First of all, everybody, like, let's be honest with each other. We spend so much money in lot of things, lots and lot of things. हम पिज़्ज़ा खा लेंगे, हम expensive phones खरीद लेंगे, and we can do lots and lots of things. But how many of us actually have an antivirus on our phone? How many of us are willing to pay for antivirus solution? We see that an expense.
हम अपने लैपटॉप पे भी आज के डेट में हम देखें लोग
Renew
लैपटॉप पे भी नहीं
subscription.
लेते,
Yeah.
they look for the key, पास की मिल जाए फ्री वाला, this is how the world works.
Yeah, and each of these things where we look for that free brownies,
Yeah.
कि कहीं पे कुछ मिल जाए, nothing is for free. If something is for free, you are the product.
Yeah.
And it's a very famous, everybody
saying.
needs to understand. And in today's age, data is the fuel.
Yeah.
कहाँ से कहीं से भी डेटा मिल जाए अटैकर्स बैठे हैं वहाँ पे एंड आई यूज टू गिव दिस sensitization sessions in one of my organizations. I used to keep telling them that कि you go and check, there are certain websites, I think I'm not able to recall that website. It gives you, if the moment you enter your email ID, it will tell you whether it has been breached or not, your passwords has been compromised or not. So I think multiple websites are there, but I always used to tell them that just make sure हम लोग very basic hygiene, we say that use different passwords for your different accounts, or use at least a good, go to the app store, don't just follow blindly if somebody is calling. अभी मुझे कल ही एक कॉल आया था, somebody was actually telling me that your father has told me to transfer money 50,000 rupees
Very
in your
common
account
these days.
and I was like, really? Yeah, like from where is this happening? And I just asked 2 3 questions just to check how far these people can go. They ended up disconnecting, but the problem is that not everybody is aware about these situations right now, what is happening. And similarly, one of the cases happened with one of my colleagues in my past organizations. They gave them an URL saying that I'm calling from this and this bank, I'm sending you this SMS, just click on this link, we'll verify it. Some OTP came. His actually he lost 60,000 rupees. That salary got credited. He lost his 1 month salary.
My God.
Imagine, and he was like, "Is there any way that I can get my money back? Because I have fees to pay and rents to." I was like, "Who asked you to do that?"
I think this is where that phishing and that social
Exactly.
engineering attacks happen. I think aaj bhi I have seen, just take an example, few days back itself, my mom also got one email stating you have won a lottery. I've seen that while I was a kid, right?
Go.
Anyone giving you free money. And I think my mom was conscious enough. She said, ये तो fake है.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I have still known a lot of people who are educated enough. They are aware of this world. And I'm talking about Gen Zs and millennials, everybody. They are also making such mistakes. Phishing, wishing, spamming, these habits.
Digital arrest.
Yeah, digital arrest. Yeah. And
latest,
another reason, earlier used to happen, this email used to come, then the URL used to come. Now what has happened? People have started using web applications.
Yeah.
You talk about, I'm not talking about ChatGPT, but similar to that, wherein deepfakes everything. That is also accessing your data, and you are the one who is letting them in your network through all these channels.
And I think one suggestion which what we do is like, we straight away get into these topics of, like understanding the concepts and
Correct.
everything. We are watching, there is so much content even to view. Like Netflix, maybe you have ample content, you
Yeah, yeah.
have so many good movies. I don't know, like, the choice of, I used to, when back in my college days, I started that movie with hackers करके एक picture थी.
हाँ जी.
I watched that, and these movies, Imitation Game, Sherlock Holmes series,
Illusion.
yeah, and there are so many good series. I think, I don't know why people are not watching them, or it's the lack of interest, or I don't know. But then I think you should actually build this habit of watching Social Dilemma, Social Network. Like, there are, it tells you, like, I think it's a must watch series. It will tell you how your data is being used. आपका simple Facebook, Instagram, like some people have, I myself have, like, good online presence. I upload my photographs, but then who you choose to share with, the database mein, it's already there. So I think everything becomes a part of your cybersecurity. LinkedIn mein, there was one very famous video that, a lady is traveling, she's going to mall, she's going to escalator, she's sitting in a, and how, like, the data attacker, how that, like, घर के एड्रेस से लेके क्रेडिट कार्ड नंबर एवरीथिंग the attacker was able to capture the information. It was more of an awareness kind of a video,
Correct.
but many of us, we don't realize that, what information gets actually public when we are, like posting even our very personal pictures or anything like that on social media. So talking about, coming to your point, like ChatGPT jaise, like there are so many applications that, probably, like you just upload your photo, it will give you a good professional look. So what is happening behind the scenes, we are not aware about it, how it is being used,
Yeah, in
where
fact,
it's getting.
earlier, few days back itself, I was watching an ad on Instagram. I think I was just scrolling. There was an ad. I needed a quick professional picture. I clicked a picture in selfie in my car, and it created a professional picture then and there. So that's nothing but an access to your life, right? You have given access to your world to them.
True.
It's not them asking the same. You have touched a topic, Vaishnavi, I think in past 5 minutes is about data.
Yeah.
And I think whatever we do, irrespective, at the end goal is to secure the data. Coming from a background where you have done a lot of certification around ISO 27001, 27005, and all those things I've seen in your career base, that relates to governance, risk, and compliance related to data only.
True.
So, I mean, when we talk about networking and data, how will you correlate? And then, what kind of certifications, what kind of steps a new emerging people should take according to a trend?
Frankly, see, for a person starting in this field, I strongly feel that, having basic fundamentals clear
Yeah,
is something which is very important.
correct.
Okay. Like for example, we have, everybody's talking about cloud security.
Yeah,
Everybody's talking about network security. But if you go to any person, like, it has taken them years to excel, to understand what it takes to basically, assess a network
agree.
and how the data is traveling, what kind of security measures are there in place. It won't come overnight. It takes years and years of, like, what do you say, accumulation of that knowledge and that real. But the good part is, at many places, given that, the information is available in abundance, but you just need to pick and choose. Uh, Governance, risk, and compliance, it is one aspect of it. But I think where this is getting rolled up from is also important.
Yeah,
So network security, or like understanding the basic concepts, what is DNS, what is firewall, how network segmentation works, why it is important.
absolutely.
So I think when you talk about these details, it is very important to have that understanding in place first. Why do we need to have configuration reviews? What we do? Why do we have to, like, make sure that, the firewall rules simple? We have made one rule. It cannot be there forever, right? You need to go and revisit. Like, is this rule still valid? Do we
One
need to?
patch is done, the rule is gone.
True. So, uh, I think that fundamental concepts आप जो assess करोगे, like you need to have your basics correct. And to get started, I think start from the scratch. It always give, like it's as we say that if the foundation is not good, the building will fall.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
won't be able to
absolutely.
sustain. So you need to have your concepts absolutely correct. Cloud, again, network and cloud. If again, I'll just speak about touch upon cloud aspect as well. Everybody's talking about cloud.
Yeah.
Network and cloud, again, they are also kind of working in a way that it's all connected. Your data, how it is being managed in the cloud, how it is traveling, you need to be very very like clear, like the data flow diagrams that we talk about. It's all fancy terms, but then layman language mein, if I have to say that, how, when I say that data is fuel for every company, everybody is trying to actually take care of the data. कई जगह वो क्लाइंट का डेटा होता है, कई जगह वो कंपनी का डेटा होता है. इफ़ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पेमेंट इंडस्ट्री और एनीबडी डीलिंग विद क्रेडिट कार्ड, उनके लिए कस्टमर्स का डेटा विल बी इम्पॉर्टेंट. somebody who is working on say robotics or manufacturing industry, उनका design will be important.
Absolutely.
So how you are basically going about securing these things. So the person on the job, the person has to be well aware about the strategic objective कि company क्या सोच रही है, and then what needs to be done at the ground level. Because if that's not there, I don't think so, like governance, risk and compliance, they can just come and give you ki, this is not there, this is there, like at a high level they can guide you, but what has to be, what you say, roll down, that is like it again boils down to basics.
One more interesting fact when you spoke about networking and the correlation with cloud, right? I think अभी हमने lately देखा है कि usually organizations talking about, okay, I've secured my data on cloud, it's secured there. It's not 100% secured, first of all. And then you cannot take everything on cloud. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We are talking about the infrastructure, but then there is another part to infrastructure, which is OT security,
Yeah.
right? Wherein there is no internet. There is a network segment, a firewall, and there are different layers. To a certain layer, you have an access to everything. Then there is another layer, which is in the OT,
Yeah.
wherein you can't place cloud, you can't do anything. It is offline.
True.
What do you want to talk about that on that part?
Absolutely. See, again, there are two aspects to it. Basic fundamentals, if we talk about, are IT part of it.
Yeah.
It talks about confidentiality, integrity and availability.
Yeah.
हम CIA tried पे ही चलते हैं.
Absolutely. Our
ठीक है.
entire asset manager is on
Yeah.
CIA, and this is
Absolutely.
where the risk is assessed.
And when you move to OT, your focus basically moves from CIA to availability.
Correct.
Because OT में availability is important. Your
Yeah.
machineries, your systems, they have to be up and running, because nobody is willing to invest इतना पैसा again to set up a DR which would replicate your OT environment.
पैसा लगता है. अगर आप सॉक को ही कंपेयर कर लो, आईटी पार्ट का सॉक एंड ओटी पार्ट का सॉक, हेल लॉट ऑफ मनी.
I worked in newspaper industry.
Yeah.
So वहाँ पे अगर मैं बात करूँ, वहाँ पे मशीनरीज ही बाहर से इंपोर्ट होकर आती है
Wow.
न्यूज़पेपर प्रिंट होने के
हाँ
लिए.
जी.
एंड आई रिमेंबर दिस डिस्कसिंग विथ माई बॉस एंड ही वाज टेलिंग मी they will not invest, like why would we invest money to bring another, import another machine. We would rather be focusing on how we can secure this. And trust me, वहाँ पे रात के 2 बजे से प्रिंटिंग चालू हो जाती है. The availability is important. So when you see, it's not any newspaper industry, and they were just telling this about, like how they are going about making sure that the access is with limited people. No, you cannot just walk into that, like there has to be proper process कि अगर आपको जाना भी है visit के लिए, you need to have those approvals secured before you visit there, even
Yeah.
if it is for an audit,
Yeah.
and it has to be well in advance.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think OT security itself, when we talk about, I don't know, like SCADA system is also like, everybody knows, like Stuxnet kitna, how much mess. I think that's when OT security actually gained attention.
Attention. Absolutely.
So after Stuxnet only, people actually started talking more about, yeah, we need to actually build something on OT security as well. And that was when, multiple standards are getting created, and now people have this OT niche skill set, OT specialist, I would
And
say.
you would notice now the new guidelines which are coming from every government, I'll not again name them government agencies, they have a certain focus on OT, right? Earlier, I hardly see, they used to, but they were hardly in attention or probably known to people wherein VAPT was done at the OT part. Networking and the network concepts or switches, okay, what are the different layers? People hardly used to get into the details of it. Now, all these new guidelines coming in picture, we have seen there is a lot of attention which is going towards the OT part.
Not just OT, I think supply chain management
A
is also
lot,
gaining.
yes,
After
yeah.
SolarWinds, what happened? SolarWinds के बाद this TPRM just got tightened. OEMs के ऊपर अब थोड़ा देखा जा रहा है.
ज़्यादा है.
Yeah, supply chain is actually being scrutinized very closely.
In my current environment, I'm seeing a lot of OEMs cribbing, crying every day that why this TPRM thing is happening.
Yeah.
And I think they were never ready for it, right? They were like, we are the vendors, we are providers. Now they also have to go through all the risk assessments which are planned for them. And it's not just the basic one, these are the strong ones which are they have
And this
to go
risk
through.
stratification, कि भाई
Yeah.
वापस जाओ, you need to go back
Fix it.
and go back. Tell us, and it's a cyclic process, and
It's a-
which is good. It's about basically maintaining a hygiene.
Yeah.
And
Agree.
I would say that it's still not 100%. You cannot be 100% sure that it is enough for what is being done.